Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 80 of ATL Falcons UK podcast. As you will see, it's just me and Liam. Carl's having sound issues, but will be joining us soon. And Mark is AWOL, so we will check up on that when we can. I don't think it's going to be too long of a show tonight. Just had a little chat off camera and said that our last 5 losing shows have all sounded like copy and paste, and it's the same problems again. So I imagine that this is going to follow suit. Liam, just me and you to get started. So go on, give us an overview of what you saw.
I saw a team that just doesn't really know how to operate as a team with us I just don't see any strategy or plan or anything, and I'm just sort of fed up of seeing that same approach to games. It almost looks like we just just make up as we go along, sort of thing.
100%.
And I noticed that it's sort of like at play by play level, we have even our routes that we sort of design on offense, they all look like we've just put it on the center, gone to the quarterback, and then gone to the wide receivers, just run wherever you want. And that it looks like we just do that every single play. It's just we just don't get any sort of like separation or why don't we see these plays where we've got wide receivers that are 5-10 yards in space that other teams can create this, like, and they're not doing it because the receivers are all super good route runners or super quick or anything like that.
No.
Like, they're doing it by design. Like, the plays are designed to create confusion and open spaces, and I just don't really feel like we've got that. In fact, most of our good plays on offense are all reliant on individual ability of a player, like a Bijan run or a Drake London physical catch. Or we're always reliant on the player to make the play, not the scheme to allow the play. And that's just apparent every single game now that we're just not that creative, and unless we make a big play at player level, we don't get very far with the ball. And I feel like we're the quarterback's obviously being criticised a lot, and you can see from the numbers, like, rightly so maybe at times, but a lot of the quarterbacks out there, if they haven't been they've got these throws where guys are 5-10 yards in space. We've got guys who can make that throw. Well, I could probably make that throw like 5 times out of 10. So, that's what other quarterbacks are sort of dealing with and putting up these great numbers. Maybe our quarterbacks are having issues with turnovers and mistakes and stuff because their only options are guys that have hardly got any space, and they're just taking a punt at throwing to someone because that's what else we've got. And if the guy doesn't make a play, then we missed, and they look like we've got negative stats. That's kind of what I'm seeing every week on the offense at the moment. And the worrying thing is not getting any better.
No, exactly that. Surely by now, as coaches, you should be seeing the issues and tampering with your playbooks and tampering with your coaching, but there is nothing. There's no positivity at all, unless, like you say, it's individual moments, and you can't win a game based on individual moments. We even said off air again that even the defense looks like it's catching up with them now that they've been on the field so often throughout the early games in the season, because you don't just fall apart that quickly. Nothing's changed for them as such, but it just looks like it's taking its toll, and we look a little bit broken, which is weird considering we scored 23 points, but we've not got the recovery in us at all.
No, we're struggling.
There we go. Summed it up perfectly. So let's call it a day. Jobs are good as a show.
I feel like we could ask a lot of people that we're all kind of seeing and saying the same things, aren't we, really?
Exactly.
And if we're seeing it, then everyone's seeing it. So, Smithy's obviously got to be seeing it himself, hasn't he? So, but we're not the ones in the seat to do anything.
This is the problem. he's not going to be in denial about what's going wrong. We know that he's not that incompetent, but why why the refusal to do anything about it? That's like 4 weeks on the bounce now where we've just not been good enough at any point. Whether we even in the games we've won, we've still not been like a really fluid team, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, is it refusal to do anything, or is it this is what he's got?
This
like,
is
he's trying to do something about it, and he can't actually do something about it.
Yeah,
because that's a possibility.
Yeah, we have a very special guest waiting in the wings. So I'm just going to add into the chat.
Hello, Mark.
Oh, sorry, I'm late, gentlemen. Time just got away from me this evening. How are we doing?
Don't worry, Cat. We're just
wrapping up.
Said to everybody, yeah, basically. Yeah.
We're just going to put last show's on repeat again.
Yeah. Feels like that. Feels like Groundhog Day, doesn't it?
Yeah. Exactly that. Go on, Mark. Give us your little overview. Liam's just done his, and we've had a bit of back and forth. So we'll do yours before I get into the questions I've got.
Yeah, all good. I think we were chatting on WhatsApp as we always do last night, and I was kind of like, let's just embrace it because we know what's about to happen, and sure enough, it did. And I think the sort of the top line for me with where I am on this kind of current situation is I said last week I was kind of 2 feet in but 9 toes out. I'm out now, like and I don't, I always like try and stay as positive as I possibly can, and I think the bottom line is, and I want to caveat this by saying Arthur did a great job in dealing with the crap that the state that we were in as a franchise. But the problem is we're too far along now for this not to have evolved. We're too far along for it not to have gotten better. Like, I guess even just some improvement on last year would have been better than nothing. But we're getting worse, boys. That's genuinely where we are right now, right? And and that's why I'm still kind of hovering around this quarterback conversation. Like, one thing that we knew about Heineke coming in was that he wasn't anything special, but that he was safe. He could air the ball out. Kid's out there throwing wild stuff around, like doing stuff that he's never done in his entire career. Like, he's playing so differently to his normal MO. So I'm kind of like, I mean, Ritter was better than Heineke when he came on in that fourth quarter. Like, I mean, it was marginal, right? But he was better, right? And I just sit here and think, well, was I wrong to abuse Marcus Mariota?
Is there a larger problem at play? Is it not? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is Arthur Smith just trying desperately to hammer away at playing a scheme that destroys quarterbacks' reputations? And I think I don't think I'm necessarily saying anything controversial, but I guess my bottom line of how I'm feeling right now is, like, boys, strap yourselves in, because there's a high possibility we continue playing like this, we're going to lose out. And my gut feel is, if we lose to New Orleans after the bye week and they haven't sacked him, then he's getting another year, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm. So, which completely defeats the point as well for all of us now, because yourself and myself tend to be the more optimistic, the more positive ones out of the four of us.
Sir.
I'm on the ropes. I've got nothing. I've got nothing left.
I've got nothing left. I'm gonna lose my job. No, I think that's pretty spot on. And I think we can go down the road of, like, picking everything apart and stuff like that. If you've got those weapons on your team, even with a bang average to below average quarterback, you should still be doing better than what we do. The Washington offense looks better than ours.
Yeah.
With Sam Howell as a QB. So you can't tell me that, you know, schemes don't totally change the conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, you know, like I say, it's getting worse. I've been begging for a week where we even managed it last year. Like, we beat the 49ers by like 20 points or something last year. Now, I know 49ers had loads of injuries, probably a bad example, but still, we managed to beat them by a clear margin.
Yeah.
We are beating no one by a clear margin.
Absolutely. We've just not got it in the locker. So I just jumped to the comments dead quickly just before they get ahead of us. Out your Falcon mind, watching the game back again, absolutely bonkers. Don't do it, boys. That's a ridiculous idea. You know exactly what happened.
That's like the opposite of self-care.
Yeah, that's not good for you. You'd be paying for therapy in the morning. And then we've got Maggie back in the show. I've not seen that name for a little while. That's nice. And then we've got a few things that we were just covering. So let's loop to this one.
Yeah, we were just saying when we feel we've got individual weapons, but not people, not the scheme to get them open, and it links to the point where you said about like the quarterback and Heineken in particular, who's, you know, got the reputation of being safe and things like that. And, you know, in Washington, he made a lot of safe throws to the open guy sort of thing, didn't he? But if we're not getting anybody realistically open, or at least, you know, a decent amount of open, he's just going to start taking risks, because like he's either takes a risk or he just holds onto the ball every single play and gets sacked, or like he's just going to think, you know what, that guy's only got like a yard space, but I'm going to have to throw to him because he's my only option, because we're consistently getting nobody in any sort of decent space for him to make a safe throw.
Yeah.
Which kind of bounces onto the comment below, just to emphasize your point a little bit. We've had so little space. We did revert back to what we felt comfortable with for a short while, but in the complete wrong manner, making Bijan try and do the bombing runs and stuff like that.
I've been saying this for weeks. That's the most frustrating thing. Like, you're not utilizing Algier and Bijan
the right way around.
This is kind of what I come back to when I keep talking about the scheme, right? If you're going to rely solely on the run game, you need to be using. If you're trying to use Bijan as a battering ram, I mean, you've seen it the other day. You know, we're getting 2 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Like it's, and this is kind of what I find frustrating, because teams know that Bijan can be moved into a wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Well, so the whole point of that is Bijan's always going to be on the field in some respect, right? What we're saying right now is Bijan getting taken off the field, Algier coming on. Like you're not keeping people guessing. Like, it's quite obvious what's going to happen, and which ironically, you know, was what he did in Tennessee, and it was always obvious. But he had Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like I'm not gonna. I'm giving myself heartburn at the minute. I'm like, the more I think about it, I really, really just always kind of come back to this one point of schemes not working. And by the way, for everybody who was sitting in the comments and sitting on going, oh, well, just sack Arthur and let's make Ryan Nielsen the head coach. Well, guess what? That defense has been awful for about 4 games.
It has indeed.
And I genuinely think that they've looked better because the offense can't score points.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we've allowed, even the games that we won, we've allowed teams to come close. What do you expect? They're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Okay, all right. We'll chuck a bit of controversy in, because just before you jumped on, I said, are they burning out because of the amount of reps that they've had to do in comparison to the offense, or is that not a debate that you're satisfied with?
It's the same for every other team. It's the same for every other team. Like what sort of ridiculous excuse is that? They're knackered. The offense are still getting on the field. We've seen it a gazillion times this year.
Yeah.
Yes, the offense are on the field and they're driving the ball down the field and then doing zilch with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not having that. Like what do I expect? They're knackered. Well, then get better.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I won't pop that comment up, even though it's very. I don't think it's very politically correct for the live, but it's probably not far off.
It's not like if anyone's sitting there going, the defense have been good over the past 4 games, you need your heads checked.
Yeah. John, thanks for watching. Side note, the last 4 games have been must win, and we've fumbled 2 of them in the worst way possible. So good luck.
We even labeled this game as our Super Bowl against the 1-8 Cardinals and still lost.
2-8 Cardinals now. Thanks.
Well, yeah. And now we're going to turn around and go, well, Kyler carved us open because the defense is tired. Okay, bro. No worries.
So I think we had a little thing higher up from Nick that I may as well jump on. Everybody's on the Arthur out bandwagon pretty much now, or at least needs to see some substantial change, which I don't think is going to come. I posed this question last night on Twitter because it's all well and good everybody saying Arthur out, out. Give me a man to put him in play, to swap him out for. You can't just say it and then have no one, can you? I've not got an immediate person that comes to my mind, and this is the problem and why I'm always a little bit more sat on the fence, because mid-season change is horrific at the best of times. Never mind when our heads have all fallen off in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say that there's a great deal of high caliber coaching candidates, which means one of 2 things. You either go and try and get someone from college, and that worked out really, really well for the Panthers, who went and gave Matt Rule the key, the keys to the farm, and then they're still going to be paying him for the next 7 years. Or you take a up and coming coordinator. I've seen the Lions OC be mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, again, okay, but does it really inspire much? I mean, can't get much worse, right? I think is the kind of place I'm at now. Like, can't be much worse. I mean, you would. I think we'd certainly need somebody with a bit more of a electric scheme.
Yeah.
Could that potentially be the Lions? Or say, yeah, maybe. I mean, look what he's done with Jared Goff. It's pretty outstanding work right there, I guess.
I not specifying a person as such, but I think any offensive-minded coordinator looking at that roster would get a bit of a tingle. Would think, I can do something with that. Like, there's not many teams of our like mid-level stature sort of thing that have those kind of weapons.
Yeah,
and not have the expectation to match, if that makes sense. You look at your like 8-2 teams and stuff like that. Their expectations are sky high. You have the resources of not that much lesser than them, but no expectations at all. So they can't even mess up that badly, really. Like you just said, it can't get much worse. What, we just lose 2 more games?
Hold my beer. I mean, I guess that's the worry, right? But you're absolutely right. You know, any offensive-minded head coach. But I suppose what you'd also have to bear in mind is that you bring in another head coach now. What does that mean for the current coordinators? I mean, you'd hope Ragone would be gone. Not that I'm really sure what he does anyway. But you've got to also remember that that's a new scheme coming in mid-season. It's going to be hard to adjust. You're probably not going to see the most out of what they want to do. again, it's a rough time. I'm usually, and I say usually I'm not a great fan of seeing coaches sacked mid-season, but because I don't really think it really helps the rest of the season. You know, if you're going to come in and teach a quarterback a whole new scheme, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But then again,
have we really got one? Have we really got one?
Then again, look at Josh Dobbs. So, you know.
Yeah.
Have we really got a scheme?
No
we've got one.
I'm just waiting to see it.
We've got a scheme.
we used to sit here and criticize Dan Quinn for having 4 different plays that he made. We don't even have 4 plays anymore. We just free ball it.
We just have squiggles.
I think it sets a lot when you're sitting here and you're hearing people go, "Oh, it wasn't even this bad under Dan Quinn." Oh, it was. It was.
Oh no, it was just a different kind.
Yeah. Just a different kind of awful, different recipe, same result. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough job for anybody coming in, but at the same time, it'll be coming into somewhere that's kind of clear of the cap. You know, no major issues, no daft contracts, pieces to work around, pretty much in every position on the field. I think there's obviously some positions tighten up, but
I was thinking the same. It's a good. It would be an attractive scenario. I think you'd be coming into currently a division that's very, I'm going to say competitive, but in the wrong way. It's competitive because everybody's bad, not because everyone's good. We've got the young players that are up and coming. We've got some tools to work with. Say we've got the cap situation. We've got there's a big enough market down in Atlanta. You've got an owner who's got a reputation of not being volatile and massively involved. Like he doesn't sack everybody under the sun. Like just he's patient. There's a great the stadiums there, the facilities are all there. Like it'd be an amazing situation for anybody. Surely, like anyone who's not in that position right now would consider it.
Yeah,
but let's have it right. Terry didn't hire Arthur.
No, but I think coming from the other end, would look. Anyone would take.
I guess what I was driving at with that is the next guy would be Terry's guy, and I think the longer that Arthur stays in position right now, and especially if he loses to the Saints, the longer that goes on, the more that I kind of half get concerned that, well, actually, Terry's not really calling the shots anyway. So if your GM's not calling the shots, and we've already got a problem. And surely Terry must be concerned about what's going on because, like every week now, Arthur's press conferences are just like more and more like dead man walking.
I thought the one after the game just gone was really telling. Even I know he's dry and he's like mellow anyway, but even he just seemed a bit shot, if I'm completely honest. Like he didn't give anything back, really.
He's good. He's so much like if he gets any more dead man walking, the press conference on the last game is going to be like Weekend at Bernie's. Like somebody's just going to have to carry the man's corpse out because it's kind of, I would say with some level of confidence.
Yeah,
it's getting to that point where it's like there's no coming back now.
Yeah,
I agree. We've got a ton of comments lined up, so I'm going to drop some in and get some opinions off you both. Cal I'm going to drop him in. He's been trying for the last 30 minutes. This is really tragic. Oh no, he's got an echo. No chance. Can everyone hear himself as well?
Yeah.
No, not happening. We tried, we failed. That is exactly the problem he's been trying to resolve. Okay. First one, let's break it down a little bit. Spot on. That run from Murray near the back end of the game with like a handful of minutes left absolutely murdered us. It makes no sense whatsoever. We've
not been good against running quarterbacks all season.
No.
That's not a Kyle Aaron Dobbs thing. Actually, as a matter of fact, I would say we've been bad at it
way before.
We've been bad at it as long as Arthur's been head coach, and possibly even longer. but you know, I'm right. I've said my bit on the fatigue thing. I'm not going to say it again.
No. Of course. Straight to the point by Matt. Fair enough. Go for it. Yeah, that's fine.
Short and sweet. Yeah.
Because we can only be negative for so long, I was just going to throw a hypothetical, and I wanted to ask you both how you think our season would be looking should we have kept Ridder in for the few games that he didn't play. Just out of curiosity, probably not that much different. I know we've had the discussion that we've got in the book anyway, but do you think the stability of having him might have helped a little bit, maybe, or neither here nor there?
I don't think we would make any. I don't think he would have made that much difference. Like, he was playing, you know, obviously we don't know how he would have played if he was playing like he was playing when he came out.
You
know, we can't say that we would have been in a better position because he wasn't playing well. Like, he could have had better games than Heineke, but I don't know. I think, like, I think it's been, in a way, it's been sort of good that this has happened, because I think it's shown that Ridder definitely wasn't the main problem. You know, he wasn't exactly. I don't think he was part of the solution as such, right, at the end of the time. But I certainly don't think he was. Like, a lot of people basically, you know, said that he was the issue, like as if he was the one issue that we had and that was it. But clearly, putting Heineke in has shown that that's not the case. And I actually don't think, you know, I don't even think it's a bad thing on Heineke. I don't think Heineke coming in and obviously, you know, playing certainly bad in this game, and he's not been great in general. I don't think it's even made him any worse. Like, because I know that he's better than he's been showing from the past, and I know that he could be more efficient than he's been. I think basically between the two of them, it's shown that there's bigger problems than a quarterback right now. Like, I just don't blame either of those two people.
You're right, but I think again, not to kind of go over all ground, but like, the quarterback's the most important player on the field, and like, if you're, here's an example: Kirk Cousins, right? Like, can do great things some of the time, generally relatively safe. You know, doesn't do anything too mental, right? And he's kind of been the same. He's been pretty consistent across his career with everywhere that he's been. I have seen 3 quarterbacks for the Atlanta Falcons under Arthur Smith, and every single one of them seems like, I'm going to put it down to badly advised. That's the only kind of, it's the nicest way that I can put it. Like, if you've got a quarterback that's got bang average level of talent, but your scheme is simple or whatever, you know, like, you can still you can still do stuff in games. Like, we just seem so like one-dimensional all of the time, and when we try trick plays, they don't work because they're like badly executed. It's like there's almost like there's no plan B, but plan A is awful anyway. And that's what we're coming to. Do you know what I mean? Like, have we scored over 30 points this year?
No.
I was going to say 28, but I think that's it.
Yeah, that was week 4.
You see what I mean? It's like, you know, you can. I mean, I know I just keep going back to it, but Josh Dobbs, man, like,
no, you're right, spot on.
You know, he had another good week this week. Like, you know, I mean, I know it wasn't amazing, but kid's been in the door like less than 2 weeks. Like, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, well, is the quarterback even the problem?
Well,
I'd quite like to see Ridder under an offensive-minded coach. There, I said it.
No, I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah,
I think we're not getting him.
To answer your original question, Danny, do I think it would have made much difference? No, not really.
Probably not.
No. I think we could do better in the quarterback department than the player we've got, but I feel like you can do both. You can have a really good scheme that just works for the guy that's there. Like I feel like there's a bit of a bit of stubbornness maybe that is a case of I'm going to run my offense and I'm going to run this scheme regardless of who the actual personnel are.
Yeah.
Rather than these are the guys I've got to work with, therefore I'm going to put this scheme in place because it matches what they're good at.
Yeah.
Like he's just come and gone, this is what I'm playing. Don't matter. It could be any team out there. We could have anybody out there probably play the same way. Well, like if I don't want to bring him up, but if you look at like Shanahan and the way that he's running that offense, yes, obviously they've got great weapons and best running back and all that sort of stuff. That's obvious. But in terms of an offense, running it with like Brock Purdy, and the reason why he was instantly successful in that team was because they looked at him and gone, "This is your skill set. This is what you need as a player because you've got limitations, and this is what I'm going to give you." And that's what they ran, and it works for him. If they went and gave him a big complex scheme with a lot of hard things, he probably couldn't execute because I don't think anyone's pretending he's an amazing quarterback. But you give him what he can do, and he'll do it.
I don't know. You talk to some 49ers fans; they really do.
He's good at what he's being asked to do, which is also
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I think the past and up until the game just gone this week, you also seen the weakness in it. But every quarterback's got that. Like, I mean, the Eagles.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
The Eagles this season, I think by their own standards, would probably say that they've probably knocked it out of second or third gear yet.
Yeah.
And I've seen all sorts of nonsense about Jalen Hurts, one trick pony, one season wonder, blah 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 blah. And this is the point: is you've got to keep your skill. You've almost. Maybe this is where the stubbornness is, right? You've almost got to build your scheme around the personnel that you have.
Yeah.
And play to their strengths. Whereas what Arthur Smith is doing is saying, no, you are going to fit my scheme. And maybe that's where it's going wrong. That's what it feels like to me. Because every single interview that I see with a player afterwards, nobody looks happy. Nobody's got that. There's no juice. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no swagger. There's no, we're going to, like say it with your chest. Say it with your chest that you're going to come back next week and make this right. But, I mean, that Drake London interview was, it just made me feel sick. Because the young kid's just like, don't know.
He had no words, did he? He just, it was pointless. Just, no. Everybody's done. And I think this is the problem. Sorry, just because we've got a new commenter. Roy kind of echoing what we've covered. Everybody's saying fire him, unless you've got someone there. It doesn't really matter. Say fire him all you want if you've not got someone lined up to replace him.
You can approach other coaches mid-season, though, can't you?
I don't.
You can.
I don't think so.
Or did they change that?
I don't know.
I felt like you certainly could. I can't remember if they changed it because it was causing disruption, or whether you can verbally agree, but you can't do anything on paper or something like that. I felt like they did change it at some point.
I don't know whether there's some rules around that. I mean,
I can't remember there was that rules. I felt like you could do some kind of verbal agreements, but you couldn't sign anything potentially.
Right. At the risk of just being like a broken record, like we have been for all 6 of our losses, do we want to try and pull a few little positives out? Do we dare? I know there's not a bucket load, but like Landman had a good game again. Overall had a good game again. A few really big plays. Looked pretty
Ellis
sharp.
Got sacked, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, Ellis is looking sharp. London had one spectacular catch that he had no right to get. Bijan had a few cheeky runs. Is there anything anyone wants to single out a little bit as a bright spot? I know it means nothing when we're losing the games, but
I'll be honest, it's a bit of a tough one.
Is
there is good things about this team, and I don't go on.
Yeah. It wasn't a good showing, was it? No.
I remember he was one of Terry's second round picks. So let's be clear about that. And also let's just be clear about the draft coming up. We ain't getting a second round pick for Ridley.
No.
Oh, no.
I said that. No, I don't think so.
Oh no. I know.
Now is that down to scheme or is that down to Reid? I don't know. But anyway, let's get
nobody's
back
quite Warren's they're not quite well in general.
Not as well as I think people thought they were doing now. I guess and remember, that's with that generational talent quarterback that we have every year that's going to be the best talent to come out of college since Joe Montana. So, again, guys, perspective, number one pick at quarterback. Let me look at Bryce. But
Liam's gonna buy it.
Is there positives? I think there's a lot of positives that, as we mentioned, we've got real bright pieces on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
That any prospective head coach would come in and do something with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and go after a loss to the 1-8 Cardinals, 2-8.
2-8.
That there were good points in that game because we should have beaten them, and we should have beaten them much, much, much harder than we did. So I have I got any bright sparks to pull out? No, because I'm not there at the minute, and I'm actually not going to sit here and blame any of the players. I do think that Matt is absolutely right. I'm pretty sure Richard Grant in it as well. But I've signed the contract. I haven't got much choice. I think that I haven't really got many great positives to pull from it. It's a shame, and I'm not playing the violin here.
No.
And I'm just, I can't. I think that's the biggest heartbreak about it is we suffered for 2 years of crap just to get out of the cap hell, and thought, this is it. This is the season where we get better. I'm not willing to praise anybody for that showing against the Cardinals, because it really should have been a hell of a lot better.
Definitely.
If you want to tell me to do one, Mark, just say it. I was just trying to be positive. I know. No, I know it's a long shot. I just thought, try and bring a bit of summer out, but
ironically, we're having the same discussion that we had last week, and the one piece of praise that we can pull out is for the linebacker call.
Yeah,
which is it's a great position to have good players, and we talk about Laman repeatedly because he came undrafted from XFL, and it's a great pickup, great, nice one. We spent a second round pick on Richard Grant.
Yeah.
So it just proves that the draft's just a lottery anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the kind of sad part of the season where I go, might start looking at draft boards now.
I know. Maybe that's what we do for our bye-week show. Maybe we do a hypothetical draft.
Yeah. We could do that.
I don't mind getting into that. I know that's
an early one.
Yeah, very early. Sorry, we've got quite a funny little thread in the comments. EA Woods. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. So you think that's it? Oh, no, that's not it. Next. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they do. You think that's it? No, that's not it either. Yeah, they do it. Not one lie was told.
So I'm just reading the rest of the comments.
Oh, wait, okay.
There
we go. Voila.
Yeah, but I mean, outside linebackers / defensive, like I think that's kind of, don't want to just keep listing disappointments, but you know that is one thing that kind of surprises me is why because one part of that Saints defensive line, which you know was kind of Nielsen's MO, was that he had a nasty defensive line that would almost always get to the quarterback. Yeah. And I don't know what's going on, why we're not utilizing Katie more. Don't get me wrong, I know the missed tackle was horrific. But I just like again, you know, it's just another one of these instances. I'm like, where's the juice? Where's the I hate to say it because I can't stand the guy, but like give me a Cam Jordan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like give me somebody who's just gonna absolutely dog on that edge and, you know, just get to the quarterback by hook or by crook. And again, you know, it's absolutely right. You know, OLBs do need work, but it's another long line of needs to be better, isn't it? You're right, Danny. You had a little bit of a sneezing fit there.
Sneezing fit. It was, and I think I'm going to go again, which is why I was muted. Like, I'm going to leave you to it for a sec. I think it's about
okay.
I'm allergic to how shit the Falcons are.
So, Liam, what's what? I know I've kind of moaned about the defense, and what's your point of view? Am I being too harsh?
I mean, over the last 4 weeks, no, I think, you know, we were very positive about the defense for most of the season. I think they were good.
Yeah.
And there's still good flashes and moments on this defense like now, but you know, I don't think we generate enough pressure on the quarterback consistently, which is kind of where it all begins.
Yeah,
really, isn't it? Like, everybody knows that, you know, your secondary, even your linebackers, really, it's all kind of stems from that initial contact. So everything is based on that initial contact. If you're winning that consistently, everything goes in your favor. Like, we know that, like, you know, even from a quarterback perspective, you can have the best quarterback in the league, like an absolute machine, but if if the quarterback has got all the time in the world, they're going to lose the receiver, because receivers are generally that good that, you know, nobody can cover anybody for that long. Like, it just doesn't happen. But you could have a half decent quarterback who only has to cover somebody for a short period of time because the ball's got the pressure on it, and you can play coverage. It's not always about that we haven't got good players. It's just that we're not creating the best situations, I don't think. And like you said, the past, you know, I'm starting to think about the belief almost in from the team, especially on that defensive line. You know, if you're a guy who's a defensive end, obviously, you know, you've got your physical attributes, like, you know, strong and fast and hand movements and all that sort of stuff. But the number one thing you need is that drive and aggression. That's if you're somebody who's coming with pure drive and aggression, every single play, you know, you just want to sack that quarterback and you just don't care either way. That's just a huge part of it. But if you need a belief in the team and the direction, and you need something to be aggressive and fight for.
And it did feel like that at the beginning of the.
It did at the beginning.
Beginning of the year, it felt, and I keep using this word, but it felt like there was some juice, like you know, some real, like, you know, like this was a different Falcons defense, and now it's almost like we've just kind of reverted back to type.
Yeah.
I found a glimmer of positive mark, and I'm talking really, really small.
Did you get your binoculars out?
That would be good. But no, we got a point for under over this week because the Falcons got under 29.5 points. So me and you are on the scoreboard. Ding. That's about all I've got.
Well, luckily we don't have to do an over and under because we're going into a bye week.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
What a Sunday next week is going to be that I don't get hurt.
We will end up indirectly getting hurt by the Saints and the Bucks and the Panthers all winning or something like that, though. So,
I mean, you've put that out into the universe now. So
there we go. All right. Yeah.
I think that over this next 2 weeks, going into the Saints game is absolutely crucial for not only the season, but I think, I guarantee what's already happening is, the Benz was pretty full, beginning of the season, and now it won't be. And, I just can't figure out how Arthur Blank could be okay with that. So if we get beat by the Saints and there's still no changes, I can genuinely at this point see us losing out. And if we do, we're back into that old kind of feedback loop of it's going to be better next season, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Even if it is a new coach, even if it isn't. And I think one thing that we can put to bed now is this myth that, it's a positional problem. So we don't have to talk about players anymore, which makes it hard to do a podcast, right? Because ultimately everything we're talking about is the coaching. But I guess to save us being those guys, I mean, there was little glimmers. There was, and I know I said that I wasn't gonna, but Ridder doing what he does best, extending plays with his legs. He got a touchdown. He got a touchdown yesterday. Like Bijan doing what he does best. Like this is starting to become a no-brainer now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got players who can do it.
Yeah.
And that's great, right? Because having talent is better than not having it, as we've known over the past couple of years. So I think we almost need to kind of take a step back over the next 2 weeks and go, coach, if you believe you've got this team, you believe they're behind you, well, they're going to have to show it against New Orleans, because New Orleans will be licking their lips.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely. Again, biggest game of the season, like every single game that we've played in the last 3 years.
Yeah. And if he comes out and says this is another Super Bowl, well, my word. And this is the limbo that we're about to go into now, right? Because he dropped Ridder. Right? Ridder got benched. And then so now you're kind of almost on this merry-go-round. Like we've almost oh God, it's hurting me so much to say. Like almost turned into the Saints of last year.
No.
Like where they were like Jameis, Dalton, Taysom Hill. At what
Just
point is this merry-go-round going to stop? And with that decision, he's almost undermined his own position. So if he has lost the locker room, which, as Maggie said, she thinks that that is what's happened. Well, then it's all downhill. It's all downhill from here, boys.
Well, yeah, you can't recover from that, really.
No, there's no redemption with stuff like that, is there? That you can't make them buy back into your system and you back into your scheme once it's done.
What a time to be alive, eh?
This has been a really captivating show, boys.
We should have some fun for once. Why have fun?
We called this one therapy because we were going to try and make each other feel better, but I just feel like.
Well, I guess, like when I said to you last night, just embrace it.
Yeah.
Right?
Second week running, might add.
Yeah. Well, just because I know we're about to throw it away. And there's a little bit of a question there. Like if we kick that field goal on 4th and 1, right? But if we hadn't, and the Cardinals had gone in at the end, then it wouldn't have made any difference, right? And to be honest with you, I'm all like, if it's 4th and 1, you should have the balls to go for it. I know we didn't make it, right? But you should always have the balls to go for it if the game's on the line, right? But to 2 seconds. I just want to bring
absolutely.
Talk about seeing changes, system or roster. Nick, really, I mean, what roster changes is really going to help us? I would say none at this point. Now certainly now that he's alienated both quarterbacks. System, I mean, we've been screaming for the system to change since game 3.
Yeah,
and even though we won a few games, it's still what we still didn't win pretty. So, I guess I don't know, because it's quite obvious that Arthur's not going to throw his system out the window. Changes for me mean coach and personnel changes, and even then, I'm still not wholly convinced that there are some great candidates out there to take over. So it's pretty much a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation, which is why we all live as Falcons fans in purgatory.
We love it. Got one saying that we should be 7-3. I actually think we should be 8-2, not 7-3. But
I think 8-2. Yeah, personally, yeah, I agree.
Maybe being the optimist, which is a kick in the teeth to read. But here we are. We are Falcons.
And I think the biggest kick in the teeth is we had the easiest schedule.
Oh, 100%. And still do.
And all of them teams were there to be picked off.
Yeah. Every single one.
So, that's where the frustration still lies for me.
Yeah.
Is that we spent a bit of time at the beginning of the season talking about playoffs, right? Can't beat the 1-8 Cardinals.
It feels like a distant memory.
It really does. It really does.
Even if we got there now, I wouldn't have anywhere near as much faith.
No,
as
but
I did have. Obviously, I still want to get there, and I think we still can do, because our division is a flaming bin.
We clung to the prospect of we could keep games close, we could keep games competitive.
Yeah.
And all we're actually doing now is we're keeping them close
to our detriment.
Whether you're in the market to say we're keeping it competitive or not is, I think, a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
But it's a really, really tough spot to be in. Following this team is so draining. It is so unbelievably heartbreaking. And I love the fact that we can come together and chat about it. It's so hard to kind of not be already in a mindset where you're just like, another wasted opportunity.
Yeah, exactly that. This is the problem. None of us were going Super Bowl. Actually, I think I said it once as a joke, but it got clipped. So
what you're saying, Daniel, is your fault, yeah?
It's my fault. But we did think at least we can go for it this year around. Like, I've not thought that for years. Since being a Falcon fan, we've not even made the playoffs. A lot of the people in the comments don't know. But this is only like season 5 for me. So I'm pretty shallow into this, and I've not seen a positive season. We thought we were nailed on for it, and now it's been stripped away from me unless there's a big recovery. So it is what it is. I'm used to it now, and I'm sure everybody in the comments, we had who did we have saying the 30 years out of your Falcon mind, saying 30 years hard, and yeah, fair enough. Can't argue against that.
Listen, I guess the only bright side to look at it, as we said earlier on, is that any coach would want to inherit these players.
Yeah.
So it's not as if we're a roster devoid of hope. And if this season continues to be the car crash that it would appear at the moment, then if we get a coaching change, then you'd at least want somebody to come in and, like I say, just inject some juice and I keep using this example because I think that they found a coach who completely turned their franchise around, the Lions. Like, Dan Campbell is just all about smash mouth football, first year was awful as he found his feet. They've got a couple of draft picks. They built a defense. They're not scared to go for it on fourth down. Like it's real swashbuckle football. And it's kind of almost a blueprint because we've proven, you can fill the Benz, you can get fans back in that stadium to come and support and make a noise if you're building a team that actually looks like it wants to win. And that's got to happen from the coaching and the players as well. I'm not totally absolving the players in this, but they can only play the players that they're told to play, right? So there is hope. There is always hope, and I think we've got a lot more to be hopeful about than some of the more awful teams, in the NFL. And let's face it, this season's been a wild season. Like
it has been crazy.
In general, yeah.
Like I don't think there are actually that many really good teams.
No, very, very few.
Do you see what I mean? So I think actually I would say probably, at least 60% of teams in the NFL, just are also in a bit of a season where it's just so up and down. Like the Jags are a great example. Like they looked like they could go and give anyone a game.
Yeah.
And again, they've just taken another just absolute nosedive out of nowhere. So yeah, I would say to end on a positive note, there's definitely hope. We shouldn't
very small.
It's not time to jump ship, lads.
No, absolutely not.
I've got far too many Falcons jerseys in my wardrobe again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time I buy one, the player gets injured anyway, so I'm going to stop doing it. Pointless. And on that note, I've got nothing else to add, really, unless you guys really want to circle back to anything else. I feel like we're covering the same topics week in, week out. So just repetition in my head. But...
And today on Groundhog Day. I don't think there's actually that much kind of going on in the NFL. I think just as a kind of any other business, I guess. Does it feel to anyone else that the injuries are like season-ending injuries are really spiking this year?
100%. I had a little discussion with Brian Finneran about this one when we did the show a few weeks ago, and he seemed to think the same thing as well, really. But there's no obvious signs as to why as such. I know we've got one extra game a season now, but it's not really detrimental enough. I don't think. I'm not a player, but I don't think stuff like that's detrimental enough.
I think nearly every team has got an ACL injury.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, is it practice more intense or something? I don't know. I don't know if anything's changed. I have no idea. But
I think it's just worth kind of calling out. Like it just feels so. It feels like there's an announcement at least once a week that somebody is out for the season.
Yeah.
Well, there was the guy from Green Bay who was kind of like, I'm only playing if it's not an AstroTurf field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe to do that. I'm not sure.
I've never been hit by a 300-pound man and hit AstroTurf before, so I can't really relate to the impact that they must feel. But
yeah, I mean, so I've played football on one, but I guess I'm an O-lineman, so I don't really run very much. I guess that's it's not a great comparison to make. I mean, it's certainly harder to kind of get some purchase in your stance, especially when you're up against a big guy. But I don't know. There's something not quite right, and I just didn't know. I didn't know whether I hadn't really been paying attention before or not. But like my fantasy football season is over. Like in about 5 minutes. I've got so many players out. It's absolutely disgusting.
Liam's yours got butchered early on, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm just evolving, shall we say?
Yeah.
Like I lost like Dobbins, first game. I lost Jefferson.
Yeah.
That was from one of my leagues, and another one I lost Chubb.
Yeah.
And then I had Bijan, who just had some dodgy games. So I was like, and then I'm 7-2 in both.
Oh, wow! All right for some.
Because I have even one of them, my running back situation. I have Tony Pollard, who can't move 10 yards, with Moss, who was obviously great, now basically doesn't get to a touch of the ball.
Yeah.
And I have Trevor Lawrence, who just isn't playing that well. But
yeah.
I have Mike Evans and Keenan Allen, who just rock the shit every week. So, so basically, I just get carried by them too.
I was close to winning one of my games, and then the 49ers defense scored 45 fantasy points. So you'll excuse me whilst I go and take my toaster in the bath. Yeah, absolutely. Quite the frustration for all you fantasy football owners out there. Arthur Smith might not care about fantasy football owners, guys, but we on this podcast do. We
absolutely. On that note,
and ironically, I'll end on this, which is very funny.
Go on.
So I picked up Tyler Algier in every single league that I'm in, just as like a backup running back. And every time I've not played him, he's had a game. Yeah. And every time I've played him, he gets like 2 points. So there you go. I mean, from a Falcons fantasy football owner of Falcons players, it's been equally the rough ride as it has been being a fan of the team.
Absolutely. Well, this is why I opted out of fantasy this year. I was not inflicting lots of hell on myself as I did last year. I thought better of it. So
I think to be fair, the only shining light from a fantasy point of view, if you're a Falcons fan, is, you want to take a guess?
Who?
There you go.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Arthur Smith definitely doesn't care about football
or our feelings.
Absolutely.
I think that was the weird thing as well. Is how come he's on the Pat McAfee show like every other week?
They did a skit one time, and during the interview, he said, "Oh, we could do this every week," and he went, "Yeah, all right," and that was it. That was literally all it was. Which was fun when we were winning.
Yeah.
Now he looks like a prick. So
that should have been the title. That should have been the title for this week. It was fun when we're winning.
Yeah, we go. Don't you worry. We've got a bye-week show coming up. Probably we'll try and get something in. On that note, awkward. Sorry, Ben. We're actually going to go off now. So I hope you enjoyed the 2 minutes that you've had with us. And yes, I hope that our blood pressures can settle just that little bit. It'll be red zone or even no football at all intentionally, just to tunnel away from it.
Just embrace it.
Yeah, just enjoy the freedom. In fact, both are off as well. Our football, soccer, our football, and football are both off at the same time because I don't watch international football really. So get a nice week of peace, no stress, no sports inflicted pain. Love that. Love that for us. On that note, we will wrap it up. Of course, the Falcons have a bye week, so we won't have a game to talk about next week. I've not actually had the chance to chat with the boys yet about if we want to shove a show as normal or if we want to try and look at some guests and stuff like that. So we will keep you all posted as best as we can. Maybe we do a very, very, very early draft show and just dabble into college football a little bit. But thank you all for watching. Mark, you can wrap it up for us.
Guys, if you are like us, and want to experience some group therapy and, kind of go round and round in circles, all to the same end, then we are live every Monday from 9 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST. I think.
4 p.m.
I'm sure someone's going to correct
things move around. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you've got friends that don't listen to the show, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe where this podcast is live on YouTube and rewatchable on YouTube. And you can also catch us if you don't want to look at us, which is also very, very fair enough. On Spotify and Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Drops the mic. Love that. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next week. See you later.
Let's just embrace it, folks.